Kristl Molina was born in Frankfurt, Germany on January 26, 1983. Kristl Molina is the youngest of her and her sister Lizzie. She was born to Kathy and Jerry Tumlinson, who were also in the Army and stationed in Germany when Kristl was born. Her mother worked as a transport operator and her father as a mechanic. Before enlisting in the Army, Kristl was a 17-year-old high school student and then started basic training the July after she graduated in 2001. Molina met with a monthly recruiter to go over specific things like physical requirement and basic training. Then, once Molina was 18, she enlisted in the military. The Army is an organized military force equipped for fighting on land. Molina chose to join the Army for a couple reasons. Mrs. Molina stated,
"The biggest reasons I decided to join was the educational benefits from joining the military, specifically the U.S. Army. Also, I was looking to travel. So those were two good ways to go to college and just see the world."
It was time for Molina to leave for the military. Her family was not surprised with her decision to join. Molina stated,
"My mom wasn't surprised. My grandmother, who is close to aunts and uncles, weren't really surprised because it's something that was talked about as I grew up. Friends maybe were a little surprised, but were supportive in what I wanted to do."
Once Molina was deployed, it took her some time to adjust to military life and being away from home. Her being only 18 and it being the first time leaving home, she found it very eye-opening and lonely. Once Mrs. Molina departed, it became time for her basic training. For Molina, she received basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, also known as Fort Lost in the Woods to many. Growing up, Molina felt that she was pretty independent, so going in, she thought that it would help her out when it came to being on her own and adjusting to basic training. Training hours were pretty much all around the clock. Days started at 6 in the morning until 5 or 6 o'clock at night. There were many times when they were even woken up in the middle of the night to train. Although it was sometimes tough, Molina thought that instructors prepared her for how hard it would be. After basic training, Molina went into AIT, Advanced Individual Training, to learn how to do a specific job. Molina was a medic and received her AIT at Fort Houston in San Antonio, Texas. This was a 16-week-long training session where they had both classroom and field training to learn all about how to be a medic. For Molina's 4-year enlistment, her GD station was Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu. During this time, her brigade got orders to go to Iraq for Operation Freedom. They were deployed for a little over a year between being in Iraq and being in Kuwait for training. Being a medic came with a lot of responsibility and tasks. Molina witnessed small firearms during her time during perimeter guard. She also saw how civilians lived within a war zone. She was stationed where there were frequent mortar fire incoming, which was something that could be dangerous. While on the front lines, the artillery fire was scary, but like so many other things, Molina learned to get used to it. When Mrs. Molina was not on the front lines, she was deployed with the infantry or integrating back with the company to work at the field hospital, taking care of civilians and soldiers. They also had support from the airport medical personnel and their own medical aid station. But if someone was sick or hurt enough, they would go to a bigger facility on the airbase or even transport back to Germany. Many times being a medic also included having to be prepared to do jobs that she was not specifically trained for. Molina stated,
"Might be told to do something that, like, hey, this is how you do it, this is how it needs to be done, go do it." So there's a lot of that on a daily basis, weekly basis. It's kind of like fly by the seat of your pants often, but the military tries to prepare you for that because that's what is expected of you, to be able to just be fluid and be able to just react quickly.
While in the Army, not all was work. Soldiers had free time to get back in touch home, as well as downtime for recreation. For Molina's time in Hawaii, which was not a war zone, they had laptops and cell phones that they could use to talk to family back home. For recreation in Hawaii, Molina and others would go to downtown parties, the movies, the beach, and the swimming pool that they had on the air base. When Molina left to return home from the Army, the Iraq War was still going on, but at more of a peacekeeping mission. Once home, Molina's family had a welcome home party, and she was also in the newspaper. After being home, Molina's husband was still serving, so she was still a part of the military community. Later, she went on to be in the National Guard and become a member of the VFW in Ephrata, PA. Although she's still part of the community, Molina misses being an active soldier. Currently, Kristl Molina is a mother of two and has been in and out of school since getting out of the Army. Molina is an ER nurse at Good Samaritan Hospital in Lebanon, PA. She continues to work with the National Guard while serving. Molina learned selfless service, respect for others, and work ethic. All of these have continued to help her throughout everyday life. Kristl Molina would like to share a special message to future generations, which is the Army is a very eye-opening experience and can make you see the world differently. Lots of times you can live next door to heroes without even knowing it. Heroes who have signed on a dotted line selflessly to protect the rights of freedom. The Army allows you to learn how much suffering there is in the rest of the world and how fortunate we are to be Americans and living in the United States. Thank you, Sergeant Molina, for your service and all you have done for our country.